Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Okay, so the biggest question lingering in the air that every single one of us are dealing with, no matter what we do, whether we're running a synagogue, running a city, a bakery, a business, or even just trying to get back to our normal lives and to continue living as once was. The biggest challenge that every one of us is facing is how to overcome the fear and the anxiety and the panic that shut down our economy, that put life on hold for a long time. And how do we once again feel the confidence to reopen our businesses, to restart bringing people back together, to reconnecting and reuniting with the friends that we miss and the family we love? How do we get past all of the fear of so long to go back to what once was and to go back to the life we miss? And so I want to share with you a very short but very profound teaching of one of the greatest Hasidic masters to ever live, Rabbi Denburg. He explains that this world is compared to a very narrow bridge. Imagine you're on a narrow bridge, high up in the mountains, a rickety, shaky bridge. You're up there, and the bridge is shaking back and forth, feeling a little nervous. The wind is blowing, you look down, and there's thousands of feet to the river below. What is the worst thing that you can do on that rickety bridge? Jump would be a bad idea, yeah. But the worst thing that you can do is look down. Excellent. Because when you look down, every single moment that you spend over the edge of that bridge, looking down at how far the fall is, the more difficult you make it for you to then be able to get across that bridge to the other end. And so if life is but a very narrow bridge, Rabbi Nachman taught us, the main thing is, the secret to life, the main thing, not to fear at all. Not to fear at all, that's it. Because the greatest obstacle to getting across the bridge of life is the fear of the moment, is the fear of falling off that rickety bridge. And when we give into the fear, we paralyze ourselves. Now it's true that every fear has a grain of truth. Every fear has some truth to it. But what anxiety and panic and fear does is it amplifies the danger and it overclouds our ability to think properly. We become so afraid that that truth becomes bigger and bigger until we can no longer be objective and be focused on getting across. I'll tell you a story of a tightrope walker, a circus performer who was a political prisoner in communist Russia in one of the labor camps of Joseph Stalin. This circus performer had a roommate, a rabbi, a Chabad rabbi who was in prison for the crime of teaching Judaism, teaching Torah in communist Russia. These two unlikely political prisoners were together. And one day the guards in the prison decided they were going to have some entertainment. And this performer told them what to do. They put up a huge string or rope across the two main buildings of the camp. And this tightrope walker in the labor camp in Siberia does a performance and he walks across the tightrope in front of the building. And we're stopping and sharing, I think it's amazing. Afterwards, Rabbi Futterfast, the rabbi that was there, was a student of human nature, is curious. So he's talking to this tightrope walker and he says, "Tell me, aren't you scared when you're walking on that tightrope? All the way up there, high above the buildings? Aren't you afraid you're going to fall?" So the tightrope walker tells Rabbi Futterfast as follows. He says, "When I'm up there, I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. I don't hear the crowd. I don't look down. I don't know how high up off the ground I am. The only thing that's in my mind when I'm on that rope is a focus on the next step I need to take. That's the only thing in my mind. As I walk across, I see only one thing, that's the next step. There's nothing else. But," he says, "there's one scary part. Do you know what the one scary part of walking across the tightrope is? Step, step, step. The what's the scariest part of walking across the tightrope?
First step.
Not the first step, because the first step, you know what the next step is. The hardest part," he said, "is I get to the end of the rope and I need to turn around. And for 1 second while I'm turning around, I cannot see my next step. And the moment that I lose focus and I lose sight of where I need to go, is the scariest and hardest part of the act. This, by the way, is true. Can we do a little social experiment, science experiment? I don't know if this will work. We're going to try it. Everyone stand up for a second. I'm going to imagine that most of you are somewhat in good shape, and that if you have to stand on one foot with your arms outstretched in the air, you can keep your balance for 5 seconds. Try it. 5 seconds. Look ahead, both arms outstretched out in the air. You can do it. Most of you anyway. Some need to go to the gym. But now, if you were to do the same thing, looking down at your feet, look down with your feet open, how many found it much more difficult to keep their balance? A lot of you are following. If you are looking down, you can sit back down. If you're looking down, it's much harder to keep balance than if you're looking ahead. Because when we look down, when we are looking down at how far we can fall, when we're living in panic and looking at the COVID stats, and we're worrying about all the places where we can mess up, and all the opportunities for failure, and all the things that can go wrong, we fear ourselves. We make ourselves too afraid to take the next step. We gotta keep on walking forward. Gotta keep on walking forward. So I want to end with a personal story. Personal story is last November, my wife got COVID. She wasn't feeling well, she got COVID. I ran to get tested, I was negative, we got our kids from school, and of course I called a dear friend who's a doctor, a family friend, and I spoke to another doctor. Everyone has to quarantine in their home, my wife should be alone in her room, no one should be near her, we should be far apart from each other. We got the kids, it's, I don't know, 4 or 5 o'clock, and they were eating dinner the first night that she has COVID, and we're eating outside because we don't want to get sick, and we're all spread apart. And I'm stressing out, no one should touch the food, and my wife took food from the plate, and we already do quarantining my wife. By the way, if you don't know, I have 7 kids. So my wife in the room for 2 weeks, and me with 7 kids wasn't enough. But that wasn't even a possibility. But we're trying to get everyone apart, and I'm getting nervous, and don't touch this, and you're sitting too close. And I don't remember if my wife said something, or when that moment, that epiphany came, but all of a sudden we realized that evening, that my kids will remember the next 2 weeks of our life quarantine for a long time. And we have the ability to choose what will they remember of the next 2 weeks. What will be the narrative of the 2 weeks that my wife was sick and that we were home? Is it going to be a stressful, scary, anxious-filled time of don't get too close, don't touch that plate? Or 2 weeks of forced vacation, 2 weeks where my kids will be home, I'll be home, and let's get together and let's enjoy the time. Let's make this a memorable, fun 2 weeks. And right then and there, that evening we made a decision. We're not going to be afraid. We're not going to be full of anxiety. We're going to spend the time together. We'll enjoy each other's company. And we had a wonderful, wonderful 2 weeks. And no one else got sick. I got tested twice after. But here's the message for you, my friends, for all of us. Stop looking down. Stop looking at the fears. Stop counting the stats. Stop thinking of what can go wrong, and what will people say if I do this and if I do that. Focus. The next step. The next step. And like that, together, we will get across the bridge. Thank you, my friends. Have a great day.
Thank you, Rabbi. Absolutely amazing. I'm going to focus and look ahead to our next speaker.